Hey there. Today we're going to be going over Foundation Glossary of Terms. Um, this is going to cover, uh, yeah, it's good. It's gonna cover a bunch of terms that basically help make the SCP like tails and logs and all of that stuff a little more coherent because there's some terminology specific to the SCP Foundation website. So this will give sort of, well, not even really a broad, but a specific overview of a bunch of different terms that are used exclusively on this site in specific ways. So we're gonna get a whole kind of breakdown on what each of those terms and phrases means. It should help to, and it'll give some metatextual uh, information about them as well. It's not just like how they're used on the site, but like where they came from and how they kind of started being used and things like that as well. So we will get going with that now. Alrighty. Foundation terminology. Other terms used in Foundation documents to describe their own personnel, facilities, and containment procedures. The administrator. Mysterious figure in universe, may or may not have been the leader of the SCP Foundation, possibly a member of the O5 Council, possibly the overall leader of the Foundation, outranking even the council members. Inspired by Fritz Willy, the person who brought the SCP Wiki to Wikidot, as he used an account simply called the Administrator to create and run the new website. Agent. An undercover Foundation agent, typically capitalized when used as a title, e.g., Agent Smith. Note that all field personnel employed by the Foundation, that not all field personnel employed by the Foundation are necessarily agents in this sense, nor do all such personnel have the title agent. Anomalous item or anomalous object, AO. An object with anomalous properties too minor to warrant special containment procedures or further research, which we have a whole bevy of videos going over some of those, and we're gonna have even more soon going over. I think we have a total of like, what is it? What is it like 2,500 of them? I think to go over by the end of it, but we'll get to that later. Alrighty. Anomaly or anomalous. Foundation term for the objects they contain in research, generally defined as anything that cannot be explained by current scientific knowledge, behaving as an exception to otherwise universal laws and principles. Area. A type of Foundation facility completely unknown to the public. Contained person of interest, CPOI. A person of interest the Foundation has captured and contained, usually is an anomalous human, anahuman, whose properties are too minor to warrant special containment procedures, and as such have more privileges than an SCP entity. Containment breach. Term used when an SCP object escapes containment. Could involve physically breaking out of a containment chamber, could also mean spread of knowledge about it outside the Foundation. Containment chamber. A room dedicated to the containment of an SCP object. Containment team. A field personnel specializing in recovering and retrieving anomalous objects or entities. Members may or may not be field agents as well, but usually have a different title, such as containment specialist. Data expunged. One of the two types of censorship used on the site, while often used interchangeably with redacted, specifying that information has been expunged implies that it had been permanently deleted from the records, typically because the information poses a hazard in and of itself, e.g., if it's a memetic hazard. D class. Foundation employees deemed expendable, if necessary, for testing or containment. Typically consist of prison inmates recruited by the Foundation for this purpose. In exchange for reductions, oh, lovely, I lost it. In exchange for reductions in their sentence, although Foundation employees may be demoted to D class for egregious violations of protocol, and it has also been claimed that D class are artificially created by hominid replicators. Older articles refer to a monthly termination of all D class, claiming that they are exclusively recruited from death row, but this is generally regarded as unlikely to be true for both pragmatic and ethical reasons, with D class instead being retained for as long as they are useful or being periodically mind wiped using amnestics. See the Security Clearance Levels Guide for more information, as well as the relevant Ethics Committee regulations. Which, yeah, basically all of the, especially at the beginning, when we go over these, most of the SCP articles are going to, if they mention D class at all, will likely refer to uh, monthly termination. No, thank you. I don't need any spam. Goodbye. All right. Department. Organizations within the Foundation that specialize in a specific task, discipline, or field. Director. The head of a Foundation facility or department, typically capitalized when used as a title, e.g., Director Jones. Disruption class, we've already gone over. We did a whole video on that with regard to object classification, so we won't double up here. Explained, EX. A class for SCP objects that have been debunked as a hoax, sufficiently understood so as to be normal scientific knowledge, or so widely disseminated that containment is no longer possible. Extranormal event, EE. Anomalous events that occurred too briefly to be contained. As you may notice from the up there, from the tabs at the top of the screen, we will be doing logs of extranormal events as well as unexplained locations before we go on. After we finish anomalous item, before we go on to the main SCP articles. So we will get to those not too long actually. Facility, a generic term used to refer to both sites and areas. The Foundation, a secret organization that contains anomalous objects, entities, and phenomena through the creation of a special containment procedures. Only rarely referred to as the SCP Foundation in universe, usually just the Foundation. Freeport, FP, a larger and more formally recognized type of nexus, an area that is inherently anomalous and entirely behind the veil. This means that there is no need to try to conceal the existence of the anomalous from the people who live there, since they all already know. Front, an organization used as a cover for the Foundation's activities, allowing agents of the Foundation to operate in public. Fronts may have a name that can be abbreviated as SCP, such as Spicy Crust Pizzeria or SNC Plastics. See the frontispiece for more information about this practice. Okay. All right. Well, we will probably also do that as well. I'll probably go over it on my own at some point, but beforehand just to see if it's worth doing a thing on. But groups of interest. A group of interest is an organization that the Foundation, other than the Foundation, that is aware of the anomalous. We already did a whole video on those, so no need to go into anything more deeply there. HMCL Supervisor, responsible for managing the containment of one or more anomalies. The exact nature of the role varies in each canon, either being a single administrative position that oversees all anomalies contained in the facility, or a title given to the leading member of an SCP objects containment team. The actual meaning of HMCL is debatable. However, most users conclude it to be Hazardous Materials Containment Liaison, alternatively referred to as the head researcher or containment supervisor. Good lord. K-class scenario or K-class event. Hypothetical situation with drastic effects on normality or reality. The most well-known K-class event, the XK class event, typically denotes a catastrophic event resulting in the destruction of human society, if not the entire human species. But various other scenarios have their own designations used with varying consistency across different articles. Locations of interest. A location of interest is an area with anomalous properties, often inhabited by permanent community and requiring more diplomatic approach to their containment. Again, we'll have a whole unexplained locations. Oh no, wait, my bad. Location of interest is a different thing, I think. Yeah, so we'll probably have a whole nother video on that one as well. All right, Mobile Task Force MTF. We did a whole video on that, so I won't bore you with more explanation again here. Nexus, NX, an actively anomalous location supporting a permanent community, originally defined and listed here. Okay. Nexus area classes are Briar, Asphodel, Camelot, Shangri-La, Dunwich, and Turing, depending on how overtly anomalous the area is. See also Freeport. Interesting. All right. O5 Council or Overseer Council. O5. Short for the Council of Overseers, Level 5, or the Overseer Level 5 Council, the highest authority in the Foundation and leading body of Overwatch Command. A council, a council of 12 or 13 individuals who have the power to authorize or veto any action taken by the Foundation as a whole. O5 council members are only known by their numbers, O51 through O513, are rarely involved in day-to-day Foundation activities, and are typically not allowed to contact any SCP objects directly for fear of contamination. Note that it is a capital letter O, not the number 0. Yeah. Again, like we discussed when we went over sort of the Foundation world building beginning portion, O5 the O5 Council is one of the most like contradictory like article to article because more often than not, they absolutely come into contact with SCP objects because they need them for life extending or protective properties. So, you know, take everything you read with a grain of salt because it'll contradict itself eventually. Person of interest, POI, an individual the Foundation is investigating or observing due to their involvement with the anomalous, may have anomalous abilities, have had contact with an SCP object, or be a member of a group of interest. Redacted, one of the two types of censorship used on the site. Something that is redacted is withheld from the article because the reader is not cleared to see the information, but would be made available to someone else with a higher security clearance level or a need-to-know basis. See also Dead X Munch. You see that sometime with some articles and stuff. Sometimes as you read further down the article, you'll get like a drop link that gives you like a higher clearance level and then like opens up more of the article as you reread it again and stuff. So yeah, so that actually is something like redacted wise that you'll see that come up periodically. It's not super common, but it's interesting when it does. Researcher, a broad term for anyone involved in research and development at the Foundation. They may be referred to as a researcher, technician, doctor, or professor, depending on their qualifications and specialty. Specialty. I don't know why I said it that way. Researchers can be involved in anything from figuring out how an anomalous object or entity functions to developing better materials and containment procedures. Field researchers may also accompany containment teams to assess the nature of uncontained anomalies. Response team. A heavily armed team trained to deal with security or containment breaches, typically at a secure Foundation site. Response team members are also sent into the field to escort containment teams when dealing with highly hostile or dangerous objects or entities, or when enemy groups of interest are involved. Risk class. Yeah, we went over risk class when we did hazard class and all that stuff. So I won't belabor it here. SkipNet, alternatively capitalized as SkipNet or SkipNet, Foundation's intranet and intersite database, used for sending emails between employees and for accessing SCP files and other documents. SCP, an initialism for, I've never heard that word before. Interesting. For special containment procedures and used informally as a short form of SCP article, as in, I wrote 3 SCPs yesterday. SCP objects or entities are not formally referred to as an SCP or the SCP in universe, although characters might do so informally, even using casual pronunciations like skip or skip. Note that SCP is not an initialism for Secure, Contain, Protect, the motto of the Foundation. It is a backronym derived from SCP. Oh, the motto of the Foundation is a backronym derived from SCP. So SCP was what they were originally called before the Foundation website was ever given the motto of Secure, Contain, Protect. So yeah, so they were always called SCPs even before Secure, Contain, Protect became the Foundation's motto. Okay. Let's do. Oh my gosh, that was dumb. Of course. There we go. Good lord. SCP object or SCP entity. An anomaly assigned its own special containment procedures. May also be referred to as special containment projects. I've never once in any SCP article that I've read or like had read, I've never heard them referred to as special containment projects. All right. Security clearance level. We did a whole thing on that, so we won't belabor it here. Site. A type of Foundation facility disguised behind a mundane front, e.g., as a corporation or government office. Site Director's Executive Committee. Oh my god. Sorry, I transitioned there too quickly. Site Director's Executive Committee of the Whole, or Site Director's Executive Council of the Whole. SDEC. SDE Cot W, I guess is what I will. Oh, good lord. A gathering of Foundation site directors serving as the Foundation's penultimate administrative authority, one step down from the O5 Council, except for sometimes when the Ethics Committee has further unilateral authority in the O5 Council. Species of Interest, SOI, non-human species with anomalous properties. Ooh. I'll have to add a thing for that. Yep. We'll have to go over that at some point. Or maybe we won't. I'll check through it, but it might not come up. Threat level. A complementary system to the object classes, assigning each anomaly a color code based on the danger it would pose if containment were breached. The threat levels in ascending order are white, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, and black. We haven't gone over those, but that seems pretty straightforward, so I probably won't do a separate video on that. Unclassified Anomalous Entity, UAE. An anomalous entity too minor or insufficiently understood to have special containment procedures, most commonly used on anomalies generated by a nexus. Usually Nexus UAEs are additionally designated with a code word signifying their locations, e.g. UAE Chapman for NX-18's Sloth Pit, UAE Folk for NX-94 Lake Huron. Undesignated anomaly, unknown entity, or unregistered anomaly, UA, UE, and URA. An anomalous entity that has not yet been assigned special containment procedures, a temporary designation prior to full documentation of an SCP object. Unexplained location. UE? What? I think they meant UL. Pretty sure unexplained. Whatever. Okay. A specific place where anomalous phenomena too minor to be assigned special containment procedures occur. See also location of interest, as well as Nexus Point, Freeport. Alrighty. I think we will, since this is divided this way, I think we're gonna end this here. And I will upload this, and then I will see you guys again soon. Bye.